Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here. And if it's not a welcome back, but a welcome, if you haven't been here before, please hit that subscribe button. And of course, everyone can hit that like button. I know you hear it all the time, but if I don't say it, it doesn't happen as much. So thank you to everyone who does. I really do appreciate that. Well, we are going to be... well, should we move you? No, we don't need to move you further forward. Right, we're going to be letting the clock go. Well, I think that's save. Yeah. He's pushing forward into here now that we have a fair amount of forces. Hello, Harry. Yeah, of course. Well, to be honest, the Italians weren't capable of doing much more in Africa than they did. Well, let's keep you pushing down here, but yeah, unrestricted submarine warfare, very nice, which is here, and now one and done. Okay, we could do that. So how are you doing today, Eric? Well, that's too far away too. I'm good. What I understand, it only took about half a decade for become a Chinese copy of Hoi 3. Or at least this is the feel I'm getting looking at Dev Diary images. Yeah, I actually have missed the last couple of Dev Diary, so not up on all of the latest. I know they've improved things a lot, but yeah. It just really isn't the equal. We'll come down this way. Yeah, yes. Go with that. If you like if you want a serious War II Grand Strategic Game, Boy 3 is a better thing. Hey, Aurora, how you doing? Well, thanks for showing up. Do appreciate it. Hopefully you can get the stuff you need done, as it were. Okay, we want to fly you to already overbased. Let's put you here. You can fit them. Okay. Need more HQs down here. And we're going to probably need some more in the long term as well as not just now. So what I want them there now, but because I don't have a proper planning staff of thousands to think of all of these things for me, I'm just sort of floundering around. I'm going to send a motorized HQ down south, down to Africa, and I'm going to send two mountain HQs down. Let's see, do we have, I just wonder here, let me look. Okay, supply consumption 0.49. I wanted to see what the HQ itself. Supply consumption 0.71. So as I thought, the mountain HQs will take less supplies to keep them properly organized, so they're better in low supplied areas. That's what I thought they would be. From the recent one, they're adding officer corps and changing how advisors and doctrines work. From what I saw, it looks like now it costs experience and advisors to gain experience now as well. Yeah. I guess now would be a little bit of a, I don't know if this is a rant or an observation or what. It seems to me that everything they got complaints about in Hearts of Iron 3, and I have no inside knowledge. I mean, I've watched a lot of the earlier dev diaries, gone through all the dev diaries of Hoi 4 in its developmental stage that they published, and seen interviews with some of the devs, and yeah, I got more information probably than the average person watching, but nothing special. So I don't know entirely their thinking, but it seems like everything they got complaints about with Hearts of Iron 3, they removed instead of fixing. Now, how do you fix something? Okay, well, if it's, click this and the game crashes, well, you make it so the game doesn't crash. Okay, whatever the technical bug is or something, I don't know, but just, that's easy to determine what it is to fix. But one of the things I know they got some level of complaints about were all the officers, like here. Okay. So they basically removed them except for, they're sort of, we'll call them army commanders, because that's, they're larger than corps, smaller than army groups. They're army commanders. And they got rid of all of them. Well, the problem isn't having to come here and, well, the problem isn't that there's all these people here. The problem is that whenever you plunk down a new unit, there wasn't a good AI program to pick the right type of commander, put Rommel in charge of a panzer division or something, that kind of thing. Or the command, and they're too long now, but the command radius out here, it's shorter for some units than others. That's why he's in and out, where and mounted or armored one from even further back here is getting better results. But was a lot of this was, keeping the HQs and connecting them to higher ones was a lot of fidgety work. Instead of just trying to fix it, they removed it. So that is what I take is a big, is the problem with Hoi 4, is that they, instead of fixing or changing something, if it had people displeased in this game, they removed it. And where this whole thing is so brilliant, I don't know of another, we can see here. Now this is, all these red dashes are too far away, and it's just my, normally I didn't have this when I was playing on my own, but just not taking the time to correct things. We have this. Now they also have the problem here is, and one of the reasons the Black Eyes people have made it overextended so much, is that the AI doesn't do well keeping these units together. So to give a better chance for nations, they don't. And yeah, I can see that, going around and solving all of these things right now are a bit much, but still, this is brilliant in that all this is here. And so army group, okay, so he has HQs. Oh yes, okay, well, let's at least move him east where they go. And if I was playing a little more carefully, you wouldn't see all of that. Now, so I don't know. I honestly don't know. We have both of them here. The 6th. Oh, this is the 8th. Okay. Just don't have a proper command unit in range. The target player. And so I know counters, and with the NATO symbols, I mean, these, if you zoom out, you can get NATO symbols here on these guys. These are just the various unit symbols. Are intimidating for a lot of people. That's why, if you want to have, which this game had sprites, or Hoi 4 has actual, 3Ds. Arno's here, very good. 3D figures. Okay, if that makes it accessible to people, fine. I'm good with that. But isn't the purpose of a games company, that's different than a game designer, a games company, to try to make a game that is get the biggest possible sales? Or is it the purpose of a games company to hey, thanks for following. Do appreciate that. Arno 1940 is now following. Okay. Which version of Arno was it following, is now following? Hey, this is the main version. What, did you unfollow the channel or something there, Arno? Is make the best possible version of that type of game. Even though it might not get as many sales. And I'm trying to think of a good illustration of some of this. And I think I'll go to War Thunder right now. Is it better to make War Thunder the best possible tank-on-tank or other armored fighting vehicle battling game possible they can make? Or is it better to try to make an all-in-one aircraft, ground vehicles, and if they can think of a way, add in naval vehicles and try to get, I don't mean as in a separate mode, but I mean as in an intermixed battle. Well, people want to play airplanes will play this too. Oh, hosting. No, you mean if I actually read the screen and not just listen to the sound? Well, thank you, Arno, for hosting. And then presume that those that want tank-on-tank battles and then, okay, well then let's say we also throw in a first-person shooter, sort of like Enlisted, into War Thunder, but into War Thunder. Is it better to try to do, that'd be better illustration than the Navy. Had men running around with Panzerfests, and bazookas and whatnot. And well, we've got to give Russia bazookas because, hell, their early anti-tank rifles, they're good early on, but they're not, useful later. So make a screwy game that has all modes in it, or is it better just to make a good or the best tank-on-tank, action-oriented, instead of, some of the ones that are maybe a bit more realistic in that they have different crew positions, but sort of the fast sort of what it is. What is it better to do? You get more people playing it if it is, but you're going to maybe drive away some of the people. And I think, I don't know the answer to that, for sure the question, because supposedly there's a lot of people not just have bought Hoi 4, but lots of playing hours still going on, though I bet a huge number of those playing hours are with highly modded games, so that they've rejected the base game. So I don't know. I really like what so far they're claiming to do is Slithereen's commitment to core war games and continuing to produce those. I'm going to add my little commentary here. As long as that they make some money, not always, hey, Exergen, good to have you here, my friend. And not just chase the most popular branded games. I mean, they very much are, working as a publisher, working with games designers on things like, Starship Troopers game, a Warhammer game currently. and also currently in development is a Stargate game. So yeah, they want to pursue those things, and I'm sure they would gladly take on a Star Wars game or some big license. But they very much are keeping grounded in traditional war games as well, and they seem to be making money on even the smaller, because I have a little bit of inside information on particularly War Plan. Is that game more on War Plan than War Plan Pacific, but that game did better than they thought. No problem. Exergent, don't be too sorry. I know I messed up that one recording, and I, it's a big commitment. No problem. No problem. I understand busy. Trust me. So they published the game that they thought was probably, I think, only going to be a sell it through the Slytherin store, but it went big, and they, after a while, put it out on the Steam store, and it went big enough. It was enough sales because Steam takes a bigger cut of what I think is it's 30%. So if you buy the game through the Slytherin store, Slytherin can generate a key to give you, but all sales transaction costs and refund costs and all those kind of things are all handled through Slytherin. So Slytherin gets it. Now, I don't know if there's much of a cost of generating the key and giving it out. I just don't know that as a technical issue. Yes, you can jump in and bash Hoi 4. I'm not. This isn't a Hoi 4 bash. This is more of a Paradox bash than bashing the particular game. And so to put a game out on Steam, they've got to sort of make sure, because a lot of people are just, if they even have a choice of buying it through Slytherin or through Paradox Store, or buying it through Steam, a lot of people will just buy it through Steam, even if both of those solutions will generate a Steam key and you play it through Steam. The companies themselves get to keep a lot more money buying it through their own stores. I know this. So, but with Warplan, it went a lot bigger than Slytherin thought it was going to be. And so they moved it to the Steam store because, well, if it's this big on our store, we get it out on Steam, it'll mean more sales. And we've already also got all the original sales on our store. So I know Slytherin, at least currently, and it's privately held. I don't know exactly the percentages of who. There's the McNeil brothers. One's CEO and the other is CFO of Slytherin, and I know them only in the most vague internet communication sense a little bit, so they're not like buddies of mine or anything, but back and forth a little bit online with them. And then there's Eric, who came over from Matrix and still is sort of the one of the main leading people in Matrix in the US, say, when the two companies started merged. And I don't know all the financial relationships, but it's sort of their business, and so long as they're in charge, Eric and the McNeil brothers, I think we're going to continue with the same ethos of war games as a core thing. But hey, yeah, if we can get this big, huge audience, and it's a strategy game of some sort, and it sort of kind of fits our bill, like, Stargate game that they're developing, then yeah, we'll do it and make more money. So I think with Hoi 4, Paradox just abandoned the war gamers and embraced the strategy gamers, which they're in the Venn diagram of things. Empire builder, strategy gamers, and war gamers, there's overlap, most assuredly. but they're not the same thing. It published a bit more than we would. Oh yes, there was in development. I forget by who. I could look on the forum. A DLC follow on that would have been integrated into Hoi 3, but because the main developer got divorced, and his divorce ate up a lot of his time, and it delayed publishing the DLC, or completing the DLC, because he was primarily working on it alone, and one that would have added railroads to the game. So not I, to the best of my knowledge, idea of proper trains and whatnot, like not like I'm adding Railway Empire to it, which of course now they're adding railroads to Hearts of Iron 4, but the would have added railroads to it and some other stuff that because of that delay, and of course they thought they were going to get Hearts of Iron 4 out a lot sooner and announce that game, that project got canceled because of his delay, and because they thought Hoi 4 was going to come out. And of course, Hoi 4 gets delayed for more than a year than planned, but already announced. So yeah, had they polished up one more good massive release that used this other guy's work, plus I would have hoped some of their own input, it wouldn't have just been this as the thing that eventually got released as a mod, but would have been integrated into a more core product. Hoi 3 would have been much better, much better. So that's my assessment, and like I'll say, thank you, Exergen. The market that Paradox, and this is because there's devs like, and because I'm working much more closely now with Slitherine. Slitherine is basically a publishing group that works with dev studios. Now, I do believe some of the, and again, because I'm not, I say believe, because I'm not seeing all their financial records and ownership stuff. So I'm going from what I know to what I think. What I believe is some of the dev studios are, shall we say, wholly owned by Slitherine or Matrix, or however you want to brand. That's mostly a branding thing nowadays, not two different companies, though on paper it's two different companies. But some are wholly owned by, I think, or partially owned by Slitherine, and others are truly independent dev studios that will make a game and publish it through Slitherine, or be commissioned to make a game by Slitherine that is going to be published through Slitherine, and their next game may not be, for whatever reason, published through Slitherine. So it's various things back and forth. If I was a millionaire, I would sure buy the rights to Hoi 3. Was that King? Not quite getting that. Well, either watch Black Ice or Portugal. Looks like Black Ice. Well, thanks very much, Michael. Appreciate it. Portugal will walk with it. Well, you can have, if you have two screens, you can have the other screen on and just turn their audio off if you want to sort of watch my audio or listen to my audio and talk about things, and periodically glance over and see how we're doing on the screen. And you can watch the as a few of my English friends, the footy. I think I'm saying that right. Over on your other screen, because do you really need the announcing? Hey, it's a goal. Yes, I see it's a goal. Nah, footy is crap, lol. Okay. So, yes. All right. And of course, to me, football is an oblong ball, if you will, that you mostly throw. But then, hey. Okay, mechanical offense, or mechanized offensive advance. Let's see, is that here, and it's grayed out, good. Okay. Combined arms defense, which is also on the page, you know. Motorized SSHQs. Let's come over here. Yeah, we'll let that go because it's just 1940. Submarine damage control. And it's grayed out. Okay, good. Well, we have a few. Guess we'll do this. Rugby with a pad, yeah. Pads. Yeah, no, I get that. But I think I other than a little bit of, school game, mostly what we would call flag football played. I've never really played football. I've never played rugby, but I think if a lot of the rugby players actually had to impact into some of the American football players, they might really want the pads because they're big men. And I'm sure it would be injurious to do so. Not just hurt, but it'd be painful, but would actually be injurious. Okay, let's do air liaison. And that should get us up here. Okay, does this version? No, we don't. I don't have any submods installed, Exergen. This is me taking a look and seeing what needs to be changed in Hoi 3 to make it the way I want to make it, at least. So Victoria 3 coming out too. Did you get into Total War Series Gamer as Rome? I've played, I think maybe a little bit of Rome, but I played mostly modded Rome 2. There is a series on my channel playing with one of the big mods that I really liked. And I played Total War Napoleon. Those are the two that I've really sort of played of the Total War series. There's, again, if you just want to watch either one series, they're on my channel. And, as a publisher, because, yeah, like I was saying, what does the dev sitting, because for Paradox, there's PI, Paradox Interactive, and then there's PDS, Paradox Development Studios. And those are actually two different companies. Now, I think they're like they've moved offices again and COVID split things up, and I don't know how it's all organized. But at one time they were on, the same floor of the same office building, and I don't know if there were any sort of, how much or not the offices are commingled, and they've expanded and whatnot. But there's a lot of interaction, and I've had interaction with both over Hearts of Iron 4, with both with PI and with PDS. So yeah, I have little bits of inside knowledge on some of this stuff, not major, but Paradox has developed. Oh, and what does the actual person who is working in the dev studio? What does he want to create? Now, publicly, he needs to get on board with whatever is decided. Now, they may have debates or arguments or whatever you want to call it prior to developing, deciding, strategizing of how we're going to develop the game. And you don't, because it's a real corporate thing, and unlike doing a mod, you don't come to an agreement. You present your arguments, and then the boss decides, and that's fine. And then you get on board with it, and you try to make the vision as good. But from Paradox Development Studios, they have a customer base. They tried to move that customer base back in time to Imperator Rome, but failed miserably. To the point, as you guys know, that talking a lot about this and should be playing. Let me just save this here just to make sure, because we've been paused for so long. moved it back to Imperator Rome, but that game just failed. And they've announced they're no longer supporting it. They're no longer developing DLCs or anything, and I'm pissed about that. Because I actually like the last release. Actually, the last release makes the game good, and if they then continue to develop, sure, some game mechanics for it would be nice to continue there a bit, but mostly just develop more immersion content type elements to it would have been great, and I would have wanted to continue playing that. But that really starts at CK3, the medieval period, moves to EU, and then moves to Vicky 3, and Hoi 4 is just more and more, or had become, now they're changing some stuff, but we'll see how it comes out, is sort of EU the 20th century, and that's their player base. And if their player base as a company, that's maybe what they should do, is have that game. But as if a bunch of us, if we ever win the lottery, I would love to buy the rights to this. And if somebody wants to pay to develop a game, I have a game in my head. It would be similar, just and I don't think I would be stepping on, and of course need proper coders to code up the game and not to steal game code, but it would be very similar to Hoi 3 in some ways, but in other ways, and those I'm not going to even touch on how I change it. Some of you know. And it would be a better game. There'd be a lot of similarities, but then we're all working from the same World War II starting. It's not sure the intellectual property rights of Hearts of Iron is owned by Paradox, but Grand Strategy World War II is not owned by Paradox. Problem though is they never actually finished making their games. They release haphazard. Well, that has definitely been the case, Exergen, for what they've released at times. I'm not going to argue that point. What I will argue is sticker shock, sticker price, and the cost of developing a game. And I do not know all of the costs of developing a game, but I do know that if say for right now, if right now is the time to buy Imperator Rome, if you look at Imperator Rome and go, I want that game, you buy it because there's no more changes planned. Now, I don't know if in a year or two they're going to come back and revisit it, but they've shut down development of Imperator Rome. It's complete. It's like right now is the time to buy Hoi 3 because they ain't going to do any more work on Hoi 3. You know what you're getting. Everything has been boxed up. And right now, obviously, later on, it's cheap. But if you were to go, oh, yes, do you want to buy Hoi 5 complete, everything working? It will be $500, sir. Huh? What? $500? They ain't gonna sell any of them. Go price World in Flames, somebody. Either the digital version or price the complete set of actual physical playing, spreading out the map version. Somebody wants to go do that, and yeah, but that's a limited game. War in the East 2. It's not even all of Germany. It may be technically all of the Soviet Union in a way, but the map doesn't. So it's a different situation. If Paradox was the Battle of Britain, the game, okay, the air war over Britain through World War II, early, middle, late, whatever, and it's just air war over Britain or air war over Europe, or Northwest Europe. So you're not including the Mediterranean theater. Yeah, and then if you need 6 DLCs to make the damn thing work, I would agree with you 100%, Exergen. I would agree with you 100%. But if you just like air war Northwest Europe, You know, we're not talking anything Mediterranean, but just sort of air war here. And then if you need 6 DLCs that are more than just cosmetic, like making new counters or some BS like that, I would agree with you. But when we're talking all of that all in one, the sticker price, and you look at World in Flames, look at either the hard copy physical version of the game or the digital copy of the version of the game, or at least the list price of that. And they don't even have an AI for their digital version, or I'd probably be playing that game right now, or at least have a major series on it. And so the developmental cost. And so if you want a game that isn't going to be developed, just wait until they've announced for Paradox Games or other things that are such huge projects. Nothing that Slitherine produces is as deep or effective as Hearts of Iron 3 or 4. I mean, did I say that wrong? No, nothing that Slitherine produces, I should say, if I messed it up. Nothing that Slitherine produces is as deep or intense as Hearts of Iron 3 or 4. They have not. The scope of said game needs money, then it'll be up front. Yeah, and you would do it, but we have to look at marketing and what people will buy. Look at all the microtransactions. I have no idea how much I've spent on War Thunder, but I'm sure if I were to go, oh yeah, this free-to-play game, give them this many hundreds of dollars or not play it, I don't know that I would do it. Okay. Well, Iran. Oh, we need to do this. Let's see if we can get Iran here. It says it is ready to come into the Axis. Invite to faction. Say likely. Not very likely, but likely. Let's see if we can get that in. As foolishly declined. Okay, so for some reason, they're declining to come into the Axis. Okay, that's the reason why the world is a mess. Well, the world is a mess. I don't know if that's the reason, but the world is a mess. I will agree with you there. Okay, guys, well, this has been I know I've talked so much more, sorry. I'll have to label this. Do it again in oh yes, we're going to keep doing that, Exertion, no doubt, because we're trying to build up threats and we're trying to influence and hopefully make them better. I want to thank everybody for making it this far into the video. Post your ideas on how you either would rather pay, and if you have paid more than $200 for a game, because I think very few people actually have, and whether you think major development of the game should continue after the primary release of the game, and we're not talking about bug fixes or horse armor or some little BS cosmetic stuff, but real elements, should those continue later on or not. I'm open to that idea, but you may not be. Love to hear from you.